and welcome to another episode. How exciting to see Princess Catherine out and about and looking so well. What a really rough year for that family. You know, being diagnosed with cancer, no matter who you are, is absolutely devastating. But being a mum of young children, that would be absolutely heartbreaking. I think a few episodes ago I told you that I follow a few YouTubers that were going through cancer journey, and both of them were actual young mums that have now passed, unfortunately, with different types of cancers and left young children. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And we know lots of people around the world are affected with cancer, and it's just horrendous. I mean, we've all had family members or friends or someone that we know that's been affected. It's an awful, awful disease that just pops up whenever it feels like it. No one's immune to it. We just don't know, do we, day by day? But it's really good to hear that she's in remission. It must have been extremely emotional for her to go back to the place where she was treated. She did say in her statement that she was liking walking through the front door instead of being ushered through the back door when she was having her treatment done, obviously for privacy concerns, etc. The article goes on to say that she was really relieved that she's in remission from the cancer after she made that emotional return to the hospital where she received the treatment. She also posted a message saying that she had lots of relief and she's focused now on her recovery, and went on to say, as anyone who has experienced a cancer diagnosis will know, it takes time to adjust to a new normal. And that is often the case. You know, I've had family and friends going through treatment, and unfortunately some that have passed away. And it is a new you, isn't it? Like, once you've been diagnosed with something so horrendous, it just changes you. It changes your perspective in life. It changes the way you look at life, and it just makes you focus a little bit more on yourself and your health. You know, we often run around doing this, doing that, doing everything else for everyone else, but we don't really sit and look after ourselves, do we? Which is really, really important to do so. I mean, she's opened up so much in this article, which is just Princess Catherine, isn't it? She's just so beautiful in her speech, in the way she conducts herself, the way she carries herself, the way she speaks, the way she actually cares about people. You can see it that she actually cares. She's interested in people. She reminds me very much of the late Queen. In lots of articles with the late Queen, they would often say that the Queen would want to know about you. You know, she'd want to know about what you're talking about, and was very interested in the person, not just about herself. And I feel like Princess Catherine is very much like her. I mean, she's been in the family for so long, so a lot of that would have rubbed off on her, which is absolutely wonderful for the Queen in waiting. It went on to say, I'm however looking forward to a fulfilling year ahead. The Princess wrote in the post, which was signed off as C. She went to the Royal Marsden Hospital in West London, and she thanked staff and empathised with cancer patients about the tough treatment, but reassured them that there was light at the end of the tunnel. Which, you know, when you're going through any trauma in life, whether it's, you know, a bad health diagnosis, divorce, you know, anything that's traumatic, sometimes it's really good to hear that there is light at the end of the tunnel. When I had my daughter, she was extremely prem. She was called a micro prem. She was 680 grams born. You'd see other mums come in with their children that have just started school and they were prems, and you just didn't feel that that was ever going to be you. And you can imagine these cancer patients having that hope from her, you know, hanging on to those words of hope that, yes, this too can be me to recover, which I hope anyone that's going through any trauma like that has a good outcome, because it's just absolutely terrible. And it's hitting so many people now, like, and it doesn't even matter your age, or a lot of young people are getting hit with really aggressive cancers. It's just awful. It's very, very devastating. She announced her diagnosis last March before she revealed in September she had completed her chemotherapy, saying, "Doing what I can to stay cancer-free is now my focus." And she has young children, she has a husband, her own little family. Of course she's going to focus on herself. And of course she'll go back to royal duties, but they will obviously schedule her to the capacity she's able to do so. Cancer Research UK says the word remission means that after treatment there is no sign of the cancer. The charity says some cancers can come back, so doctors tend to use the word remission, not cure. Yeah, that's kind of a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because you'd want to hear that you're cured, but of course it can flare up at any time, which is kind of really devastating, because it'd always be in the back of your mind, wouldn't it? In her message on social media, Catherine thanked the Royal Marsden Hospital for its exceptional care and for looking after her so well. She added, "My heartfelt thanks goes to all those who have quietly walked alongside William and me as we have navigated everything. We couldn't have asked for more." She's always so loving, isn't she? It's really, really good that she's well. And like I said, I hope anyone that's diagnosed with anything that's detrimental to their health, I hope they have a full recovery, because life's too short to have illnesses as well, isn't it? On Tuesday morning, the Princess had spoken to cancer patients at the Royal Marsden with the empathy of her own first-hand experiences in her most significant solo royal engagement since her treatment ended. Catherine told a woman who was having chemotherapy, "It's really tough. It's such a shock. Everyone said to me, please keep a positive mindset. It makes such a difference." And that's the thing too. It's really hard to keep positive when you get a diagnosis like that, because it's a little bit different these days, because the treatments are a little bit better than they were, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago. My own brother died of leukemia a long time ago now, 23 years ago. And I remember them saying at the time, "We will have a cure." And you wonder, with all the money that the Cancer Research Foundation has had over the so many decades, you'd think that they'd have a cure by now. But the treatments are a lot better and a lot of people are surviving cancer. But when you get that diagnosis, you often think straight away, "Oh my God, I'm going to die," which is awful. Arriving as a visitor now rather than a patient, the Princess sympathised with those undergoing treatment and described how she was still feeling the long-term effects. And of course, it would affect her for a very long time. The tiredness from that is quite brutal. You have to really, really nourish your body, because obviously chemotherapy, regardless of what chemotherapy she was on, it kills the good cells as well, so you've got to rebuild your body, and that takes a very long time. I have a friend that's been going through treatment now actually she stopped treatment 3 montes ago, but she had gone through treatment for 18 months and she's still spending a lot of days in bed, because she just does not have the capacity to get up and do her normal stuff. She just doesn't have the energy, so it takes a while to rebuild. She went on to say, "You think the treatment is finished and you can crack on and get back to normal, but that's still a real challenge. The words totally disappear, and understanding that as a patient, yes, there are side effects around treatment, but actually there are more long-term side effects." What she means by the words totally disappear is chemotherapy give you really, really bad brain fog. It's very much like when you have a baby and your hormones are all over the place, or when you go through menopause or puberty, your brain just loses the capacity to find words. So you could be mid-sentence and just go, "Oh my God, what was I going to say?" And you can't find the word. I often say to my husband, we'd be talking, I'd go, "The Duva Malaki, the Duva Malaki," and he'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And then you try, it's like a bit of a game, isn't it? You try and figure out the word. It's awful. The brain fog is awful. She was asked how she was feeling. Catherine said she was doing well, but added, "Sometimes from the outside, we all think you finish treatment and you go back to normal things, but it's hard to get back to normal." The Princess hugged Tina, who broke down in tears as she told her how her 19-year-old daughter is in the intensive care unit. That's terrible. Putting an arm around her, Catherine looked emotional and told her she was in the best possible place. The princess said, "I'm sorry. I wish there was more I could do to help. I wanted to come and show my support for the amazing work that's going on here and for those who are going through treatment and having such a hard time." Catherine added, "Are you okay?" "Yes." Then she said, smiling, "There is light at the end of the tunnel. Very nice to meet you and best of luck. You're in the best of hands." You know, she is just a lovely person, isn't she? She just knows the words, doesn't she? And I feel like it's a bit like touched by an angel, her presence. She has that aura about her, that light, that, you know, she just has that beautiful aura, that positivity, and it must have been absolutely horrendous for her and her family. And like I said, for anyone around the world that's going through the same thing, I hope and pray that, you know, you all get a positive outcome, because honestly, we all don't know what's going to hit us anytime, which is quite sad, but I guess that's life, isn't there? You know, someone once said, while you're alive, you have problems. When you're not alive, you haven't got a care in the world, have you? So while we're here, problems will crop up. But it's really good to see her out and about. It's good to see that she's in remission and she can slowly rebuild herself and get on with her life, and hopefully it never rears its ugly head again and she can just continue life as as she's meant to continue it. Anyway, I thought that was a really great positive story. I did have another story for today, but I don't want to go there. Mega negative crap. Maybe tomorrow. But yeah, this is really positive and uplifting. And like she said, there is light at the end of the tunnel. So if anyone's struggling out there, I suppose let's hang on to those words of that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Have yourself a lovely day. Be happy. Keep smiling and chat later. Bye.